Don't forget what it took to get here, whatever that means in your life. Because for those who are new, my name is Lawrence Harris. I'm a youth empowerment speaker. Think about a motivational speaker, but I take it a level higher than that. Instead of just hyping you up and saying, go to the gym, I actually give teenagers and young adults the resources, the step-by-step formulas, the here's what's to do to go beyond just motivation and step into transformation. Breaking limiting beliefs, building confidence, developing self-love, creating resilient-minded youth. It's fantastic. And today, I spoke in front of my largest audience ever, in person specifically. 70 kids or so. It's weird to say kid because I'm actually the same age as most of them. And as I'm standing on this stage, I take a deep breath. And I begin. But before that, every time I go up on a stage, even though I've been doing this for years, there's this little voice in my head that goes, what if? What if it goes bad? What if you start stuttering? What if you trip and fall? What if nobody likes it? What if this? What if that? And when I noticed that voice popping up, and this is something you can do too, because it might not be in regard to public speaking, but I'm sure you have that voice pop in your head. Maybe it's about a math test, or a job hiring you, or an obstacle in your life. What if you don't figure it out? What if you're stuck here forever? Just reframe it. Just say, what if it goes a lot better than I could have ever imagined? What if I do get the promotion? What if I get, instead of thinking about, what if you don't get an A on the test? What if I get an A+? What if it goes better than I thought it would? So, I take a deep breath, I calm myself, and I look out, and I begin telling them the most sensitive, gut-wrenching details of my life. Those moments when I didn't have it all figured out. Those moments when I thought I'd never figure it out. Those moments when I had to look in that bathroom mirror and get real honest with myself. When I had to admit that I was scaring away the people I loved. When I had to admit that I didn't know who I was. When I had to admit that I was just spiraling out of control. And obviously now I'm better, but this isn't about the man I am today. This is about where I came from. This is about what I overcame. This is about what I learned to push through. And it's not even just about me. It's about using myself as the vessel for transformation for others. It's about taking the pain I went through, the stuff with my dad, and turning my obstacles into an opportunity for others to learn what I learned the hard way. To learn how to pick yourself up when you're down 10 times. To learn how to show up for yourself when you don't even know what you're showing up for. To learn to find that light in the tunnel, as cliche as it sounds. To learn to take one more step. To learn to keep going even when you want to give up so bad. To find a reason bigger than yourself. To find a reason to love yourself when it feels as though you've been conditioned to not love yourself. To reclaim your own power. To become strong in the time when you feel weak. To know that there is a purpose for your life. That you were put here for a reason. That you're not just a waste of space. And I feel like a lot of times people don't touch on this kind of stuff because it's sensitive, it's touchy, it's scary. It's not something that you want to go up and tell a group of people about, like, hey, I don't know none of your names. I've never met a single one of you in my life. But now, you all know I got kicked out when I was 13. Hi. And it's scary to do that. I'll admit it. There's a bit of fear with it. But when you push through the scary moments in life, when you push through hard things, it gets easier. It gets easier. And every time I go up, it gets easier. And every time I go up, I get better. I find ways to improve my ability, not just for my own personal enjoyment, because I love what I do, but it's bigger than that. It's about the transformation that they walk out of here with. Because sometimes my own mind starts overthinking it, and I start thinking to myself, what if they don't like it? What if this? What if that? But I have to catch myself and realize that what if they go home and they say, hey mom, hey dad, this guy said something that really moved me, and now I get them to open up to their parents about how they're feeling. Or they talk to their friend and it saves somebody's life. Because that's happened before. I've gotten messages like that. Or they go home and they tell their siblings that they love them. Or they learn to love themselves. Or just it helps somebody somehow, some way. And I think that we often fall into this narrative that we have to save the whole world in order to make a change. When in reality, you just need to start with yourself, or start with your community, or start with the person next to you. You know, giving out some food to the homeless, that's one way. Telling somebody you love them. Donating to charity. You don't gotta donate $1 million, you could donate $5. If you don't got $5, you can donate 5 cents. And if you don't got 5 cents, I'd advise you get a job. Or an allowance or something. But that's a side note right there. All it takes is you to just start. A couple of words can really change somebody's life. A small action. How are you doing today? And not just let them brush it off at, oh, I'm doing all right, I'm doing fine, I'm doing good. No, I want to know why. Why you're doing good. Why are you happy? What is it that makes you feel good today? What is it that you're happy about? I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know. Because a lot of people feel like they have nobody. A lot of people feel like nobody wants to hear it. That's how I was. I used to feel like nobody wanted to hear it. Even though I had people who wanted to hear it. I had friends, therapists, a girlfriend too. Not anymore, but I did. I had people who wanted to hear it. But for so long, I was afraid to tell them because I don't want people to look at me different. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I don't want people to make fun of me. I don't want that. But after going up on that stage and sharing all of this with them, afterwards people are clapping and they're cheering. They're like, wow, man, I loved it. I go back to my seat, and this is when it really hit me how transformative this was. I looked up, and there was a line of people who wanted to talk to me. That's the first time this has happened. There was a line of people who wanted to talk to me, and they wanted to tell me how great it was and asking me for advice. Like, man, I want to start my own business, or I want to build my self-love, my confidence, or how'd you learn to push through that, and how'd you do this, and how'd you do that? They're just asking these great questions, and it's beautiful. I say the word beautiful so much, but that might be one of the most used words in all my videos, beautiful. But that's the best way I can describe it. It's really beautiful when you see that you can have a positive impact on other people. That your words have power. That your words carry weight. That you can help somebody realize that they matter. That even in a world that often makes us feel like a nobody, we're somebody. Even in a world that often tells us that we're defined by our material possessions, no, you're defined by the content of your character. Not the color of your skin, Not your height, not your weight, not your car, not your house, not your bank account, not what kind of watch you got. Not any of that. You're defined by you. And speaking from experience, when you forget who you are and you start trying to be what the world tells you to be, and you start trying to live up to the world's expectations, you're going to have a real tough time. Because the world always says you gotta be something that you're not. The world say you gotta be 6'12". I'm 5'6". The world say you gotta make $8 million a month. I do not make $8 million a month. The world say you gotta have a certain type of car. I don't even have a license. But every day I wake up and I love myself. I love myself not for what I have, but for who I am. I love myself not for my career or my job, but I love myself for the impact that I have on others. I love myself because I do. I don't love myself for no reason except because I do. Because I matter. Because I can help other people realize that they matter. Because I found something that I can dedicate myself to. That I found something that can ultimately help others. And I think a big part of life is being of service to other people. The best king is the best servant. I want to repeat that. The best king is the best servant. Because what is a king but the person who leads his soldiers? What is a king but the person who protects and provides and supports their community? They're just the leader of it. They're like one step ahead of the crowd. And when it's time to go into battle, they're shoulder to shoulder. They're not all the way back there. No, they're shoulder to shoulder with their soldiers. They are on the front lines. And a lot of times, I believe that not even just people, people of course, in general, but especially with a lot of public speakers, we get into this mindset of, nah, I want them to come find me. I want the podcast to find me. I want the association to find me. Bro, if I didn't send these emails every day, I wouldn't be here. This master bedroom, 2 bedrooms, couch back there, living it up, enjoy myself. I would not be here if I didn't send these emails out. Be proactive. Go at it, okay? And don't even just ask once, follow up. Okay, be persistent. Okay, don't be annoying, but be persistent. Let it be known that you're showing up. Let it be known that you are hungry. You want it. Because the people who win in life are the ones who want it. Everybody wants it, but the ones who want it, they're the winners. They're the ones who will do what others won't. They're the ones who will go that extra mile. They're the ones who are going to show up. They're the ones who in that gym from 3 in the morning to 8 at night. Kobe Bryant was in that gym 3 in the morning. He left 8 at night. That man was in the gym more than he spent time with his wife. Why? Because he was dedicated to his craft. Whether you love him or not, whether you got any critique of the man or wreck his soul, let's not disrespect the dead, but whether you have any personal opinions in regard to how much time he spent with his wife, you gotta admit he was pretty darn good at what he did. Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, we could go down the list. Leonardo da Vinci, Kanye, anybody you can name, anybody who is like great at what they do, man, woman, non-binary, whatever, that's not the point here. The point is the ones who go for it, the ones who are proactive, the ones who post them. I post video, 5 a day. I've been doing 5 a day. I haven't these last 2 days because I've been, busy running around with the conference, but I'm going to be back on it, okay? I'm going to be back on it. You gotta give me some slack right now. But you gotta put yourself in position. Because especially if you're somebody who are trying to help others, in whatever way that means. Maybe the way you help others is you make paintings and it helps them to make their house more beautiful. That's the way you help other people. Maybe you cook food. You know, you're feeding them. You're keeping them alive. Maybe you fix houses. You're giving them a safe place to live. Maybe you fix plumbing. You're making sure that toilet doesn't overflow. Maybe you're, a speaker like myself. You're inspiring, you're motivating, you're teaching. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you are, whatever you do. Hairstylist, tattoo artist. You have a food truck or a smoothie truck. Whatever you do, you're trying to help other people somehow. The best businesses are the ones that help people. Think about it. The best businesses are the ones that help people. And we need to start leading from our heart more. We need to remember that a lot of us didn't get into this just for the money. And the ones who got into it just for money, you're going to burn out fast. Because I don't just do this for the money. Of course, I appreciate that. I love the money. Go to my website. Buy my audiobooks. Power to the People. You can also get them on Amazon. I also have the audiobook version out. You can get that through the site. The books, you get that through Amazon. Now, of course, money is appreciated. I love that. But what I really love is the impact, the transformation, the lasting effect it has on people. Being able to see somebody's eyes light up. Being able to see somebody open up out their shell. Being able to see somebody realize that they matter. Not for their money. Not for how they look. Not for their status. Not for any of that stuff. No, they matter because they do. You're valuable because you are. You're worthy because you are. You have a place in this world because you do. You notice how I didn't say because somebody else said you do, because of your job or your status or your money or your height or your clothes or any of that. No, you do because you do. I love you because I love you. You are because you are. You're worthy because you're worthy. And just remember that you love yourself. That's really it. That's really the whole point of this video. That's really the whole point of a lot of my content. I'm just trying to remind you to love yourself. It can be boiled down to that. Love yourself and remember that even when the world knocks you down, stand back up. If you get knocked down 9 times, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with facing some obstacles. There's nothing wrong with, things not going right. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you stay down. Because when you stay down, you get stomped on. And when you get stomped on, it hurts a whole lot more than getting knocked down. So, I'm going to close out with this. Love yourself. Appreciate yourself. Respect yourself. Show somebody that you care about them. Let somebody know that they matter. Help them to love themselves too. And get yourself a copy of the books, Power to the People, on Amazon.com. You can also get the audiobook version through my website, LawrenceHarris.com. And follow for more. That's what I got for y'all today.